In this episode, I want to explain how you can use deal packaging for quick cash flow. Hey, if you're watching my videos for the first time, my name is Saj Hussain, and on this channel I share with you my 15 plus years of property investing experience to ultimately help you get further faster in your own property investing business. First of all, let's talk about deal packaging. What is it? Deal packaging is the skill of finding a good property deal, presenting its benefits to a potential investor, and then helping them complete that purchase, and you've been rewarded by way of a fee. What you really might be thinking right now is, how much is that fee? Well, the fee can vary really depending on the value that the deal brings. It's not unusual for a fee to be anything from £2,000 to £5,000 for putting together a deal that somebody else is going to benefit from. However, there have been a number of occasions where I've charged more than £10,000 for a deal that we've sold to somebody else, but at the same time, I've actually paid way more than £10,000 to be able to acquire a deal from somebody else that they've sourced that we're going to get massive benefit from. It's all about context and the value that that deal is going to bring to somebody. The point I'm making is, if you're bringing a deal to somebody that has significant potential profit for them, you will get paid handsomely for the work that you do. When people get involved in property investing, there's really a few things that they need to get in order. Firstly, it's a strategy. It's understanding there's many different ways that you can make money from property, understanding what's the right strategy for them. Secondly, is be able to go out and find those deals. And then thirdly, is being able to have the funds available to be able to finance those deals and make the whole thing work. Your job as a deal sourcer and packager is to be able to go out there, find those deals, negotiate directly with the vendor or the intermediary that you're getting the deal from, being able to analyze, do the due diligence on it, then be able to present that opportunity to somebody else so they can see the benefits in acquiring this deal, and you then help and support them through the purchase process of acquiring that property. One of the easiest ways to explain the role of deal packaging is to think about what an estate agent does. They go out to the market, they look for people who might be looking to sell their property, they agree a figure that they could market that property for, then they carry out some marketing activities, primarily list it on the main portals like Rightmove, Zoopla, and then wait till the inquiries start coming in. As the inquiries start coming in, they'll do some filtering, do some viewing, negotiate, accept an offer, and then pass it over to a team that will just oversee its purchase. Now, actually, that isn't all that different from sourcing and deal packaging we're talking about. The main difference is that the person that pays us for the work that we do as a sourcer is the buyer of the property, as opposed to in an estate agency being paid by the seller of the property. There are many reasons why somebody might use a deal sourcer, but primarily it tends to be two main reasons. The first is they don't necessarily have the time to be able to go out and find the deals and be able to negotiate them, oversee them to the completion point. They're just really time poor and they don't have the ability to be able to do that. Or secondly, they don't necessarily have the right skills to be able to go out and find the deals, negotiate them, and again, oversee them all the way through to the completion process. And in return for somebody else doing this work for them, they'll quite happily pay a fee for that. The main reason why you may be considering deal sourcing and packaging is really because the cash flow you can build quite quickly, and it doesn't require a huge amount of money to get started. But the biggest advantage really is the polishing of your skills, of finding these deals, negotiating these deals, structuring the deals, and being able to really hone your skills around many different strategies. That in itself is just so invaluable. And this is really where my property business started. I started finding deals, packaging up and selling to other people for a fee. There are really two main ways that you can approach deal sourcing. One is to do it on a volume basis, and the other one is much more smaller but targeted. So let me explain what I mean by both of those. When we're doing a volume business, it's really about finding any kind of opportunity, a property opportunity that will make money pretty much anywhere in the country, and then being able to offer that to a pool of investors that might be a pool of investors that you built up yourself, or it may be you've got access to other deal sources lists that you can sell those deals through. But essentially what you're working on is volume and small margin, by being able to just constantly move these things on. Now, starting here is not so easy, because really it's about being able to identify an opportunity when it comes around, to really be able to do the due diligence on that deal. But it means understanding different ways to be able to do strategies, and also understanding the different locations around the country and the micro markets that operate within them. The other route to market, my preferred route, is really picking one location, maybe picking a couple of strategies and really just focusing and knuckling down on those. So for example, if I was to start this now, that would mean, let's say I pick Birmingham, let's say it's HMOs, and I would focus on finding good quality HMOs or potential HMOs in the Birmingham area, and then charging a fee for those. Now, the advantage of that is that you really get skilled up in that one particular strategy and mastering the location, and you get seen more of an expert, and actually you can command higher fees for your knowledge because it's more than just a commodity that you're now shifting. This also easily presents scope for extension strategies. For example, it may be that you project manage a renovation, charge a fee for that. It may be you find the tenants for the property, charge a fee for that. It may be that you deal with the management of the property and you charge a fee for that as well. Or it may even be you introducing other people to be able to assist, to be able to complete that as more of a turnkey operation, and again charging a fee for that. So you're building all your expertise and authority around a strategy in a location. The type of deals you source will also vary massively as well. So for example, let's say you're sourcing rent to rent type deals, that might be a rent to HMO or rent to service accommodation. These deals you can often do much quicker. They don't take too long to be able to set up and get the paperwork signed and get the keys handed over. And it's easier to start building a relationship with agents because you're going back, getting deals on a regular basis from the letting agents. You're also building a relationship there as well. Often the fee that you charge will get paid quicker, but generally it tends to be a smaller fee that you can earn from sourcing rent to rent deals. The more common type of property is one where somebody's purchasing it. Let's say it's a regular buy to let type of investment, but those deals also take a little bit longer. It can take 2-3 months sometimes to be able to complete a deal, and sometimes it's unfortunate, but deals can fall out of bed. Now this applies to any kind of strategy because any of the deals could fall out of bed, and it often means that you've done the work but you don't get paid because your potential buyer hasn't actually got a deal at the end of it. Then you've got the more complex deals such as developments. Now developments can command a much higher fee because the scope for potential profit margins often is significantly higher, but also they come with so many different moving parts that need to be considered and factored into a deal, and the deal can take much longer to be able to put together and make it work. The type of deals you choose to source will really depend on your current skill set and your hunger to be able to learn more around the different strategies. The next thing to then consider is how do you actually go about finding these type of deals? There's many different ways you can use to source deals. In fact, in our business, we probably use more than 50 different methods to be able to find those deals. In our business, we've really honed down the skill of being able to find good quality deals because for us, that's the lifeblood of our business. I also run some training courses where we teach you how to be able to find these deals and all the different techniques and the strategies we use to find and negotiate deals. There's already a number of videos on my YouTube channel explaining about sourcing deals. In fact, we'll link one of those up here for you now that you can watch after this video. If you really want to get into the detail of how we use the 50 different methods to be able to source deals, then the good news is that I do run a training course on this topic. But this training course is probably very different from anything else that you've seen because at the end of the course, not only do we equip you with the knowledge and the skills that you need, but we also hand you more than 20 motivated seller leads. Yes, we hand you leads at the end of the course so that you've got something to start with straight away. But then in addition to that, we also connect you with funders that will fund those potential deals for you as long as those deals stack up. And to learn more about this training course, just send me a message and we can then discuss the details. The important thing to remember is when you're out there looking for deals is that the deal needs to make sense. That means there needs to be some scope to be able to make some money from that deal, but also there needs to be an appetite for people wanting to purchase that type of deal. So for example, if you've got a deal that potentially can make £10,000 in a month, that sounds fantastic, but the risks might be very high that come with that deal. But it also may require £1 million of investment in order to make that £10,000 return. Now, for some people, it may be that actually that just does not make sense, it's not viable. So the number of people who would want to acquire a deal like that is very limited, if any at all. The easiest numbers to work with is what amount of money is required to get into this deal, what return is that going to generate for somebody, whether that's equity or whether that's cash flow. The next thing you'll need to work on is your negotiation skills. Negotiation is important because it's about getting your seller on board, and especially when you're dealing with the seller directly, often it's a motivated seller. So yes, they want to get the deal done, but they'll have needs as well that need to be met. Your job is being able to understand those, work out a solution, how you can be able to put together a deal that gives them what they want, still enables your potential buyer of the deal to make a profit as well, and for you to be able to charge a fee for all the time and effort that you've got to put into this, to make it work. The good news is I already have a video recorded on my YouTube channel where I go into negotiating and the skills in a lot more detail. We'll link that video up here for you, so again you can watch this after this video. Once you've reached some kind of agreement with your seller, you want to be able to put that into some kind of agreement to secure the deal, to prevent them from selling to somebody else and giving you the ability to be able to get it sold to your buyer. There are a number of different ways you can secure a deal. Sometimes people use an option agreement which gives you a right to buy. Other times it might be a lockout agreement which prevents it being sold to somebody else, or it may even be like an agency agreement similar to that of an estate agency, which allows you a period of time to be able to go and sell that property and charge a fee for it. Now, if you're working through an intermediary, like for example an estate agent, then they're not going to be entertaining any kind of idea of signing new agreements with you. They'll use a standard memorandum of sale, which means there's an agreement put into place to sell the property to you. Sometimes these things are also done on trust as well, not necessarily the best way, because I've got my fingers burnt a few times where I've agreed to do a deal, done it on trust, thinking we're all good, and they've actually ended up doing a deal later on with somebody else who's offered them more money. Having said that, there's also been a number of occasions where I haven't had an agreement in place and they've been offered more money and they refuse to do it because I've built a really strong rapport and bond with the seller. On the other side of the equation, you have your buyer who wants to purchase a deal, and you need to be able to put them into an agreement as well, and also make sure you're clear about what fees going to be paid and what fees need to be paid at what stage. Once your buyer has agreed to buy the property, the rest of the process is really about overseeing that transaction. It's been able to manage the seller of the property, manage the buyer's solicitor, maybe manage the buyer's mortgage broker, the surveyor, manage the seller's solicitor. There might be an intermediary involved, like an agent, managing them as well. It's a lot of it is about managing all the different parts of the transaction to make sure you get it across all the way to the end point, because that's where you're going to get paid. Many deals tend to fall out of bed because there's so many different stages and people take their eye off the ball because they're off looking for the next deal. But whereas what they should really be doing is, yes, looking for the next deal, but making sure they're keeping a very close eye on the current deals to ensure that they're moving along. Now, the one thing that we haven't talked about yet is compliance. Is what sort of compliance needs to be in place for you to be able to source deals and package them on in this way? Well, really, you can go out marketing for deals, looking for deals if you're acquiring them for yourself, or if you're packaging them up and selling them to other people. As I mentioned earlier, this is very similar to what an estate agency does. So there's a lot of the rules that apply to estate agents will also apply to you as a deal sourcer. Now, I have a video where I explain this in more detail that I'll link up here for you to come back and watch after this video. This type of business is really what we call trading. What you're doing is identifying something in one place, a commodity, being able to offer it somewhere else and charging a fee for that. Ultimately, I believe the most important skill in this particular strategy is really that of being able to manage people, understanding people, working with people, and being able to get the best out of them. If you're somebody that lacks patience, gets frustrated very easily, gets wound up quickly by people, and gets annoyed when people don't do what they said they were going to do, then this business is probably not going to be for you. However, if you're somebody that's prepared to put the time and effort into it, you're definitely able to build this as a great cash flow business. Yes, you've got to put the hours and the effort into it to be able to get rewarded. And if you stop working, it's going to stop paying you because it does require your time to be input into it to make it work. But it's a great way to be able to build that cash flow and use it as a stepping stone to move on to other strategies. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure you click on my face over here to subscribe to the channel. And then what you can do is watch this video over here that I've got lined up for you, which shares with you the biggest mistakes that I see in the deal packaging business. So once you've subscribed, click here and I'll see you on this video over here.